Hey gun people, gonna talk about government containment. Knocking out a few videos today. Let's talk about government containment. What happens when the government starts locking down areas? I guess I might put a link to this in my revolutionary series. I don't know if I'll call it a revolutionary video, but in a situation where martial law is enacted. I just watched a series on Netflix called Containment, I think. Pretty good little series. They have an outbreak, and they end up just boxing in this area of the city, and the government doesn't let anybody in. It pretty much just abandons everybody like they always do. They're going to let everybody die inside from the disease. Meanwhile, they'll keep everybody inside, and they'll kill them if they have to, so nobody gets out. Government will always protect itself. It'll never protect the people before it protects itself. And that's why government needs to be controlled, and you should never give government power to protect you, because when they take away your ability to protect yourself, they also take away your ability to protect yourself against them. So the wind's picking up. It was nice out here, and not windy at all, but hopefully it's not picking up on this machine. But when the government decides to lock down, there is a small window that you need to decide to either get out or get to a place inside that you need to be. Now, anytime I think there's going to be a containment or there's going to be a lockdown, I'm getting out. Okay, that's my goal. I don't want to be inside. I don't want to have the government control lock, because once they lock you down, then they control your food, your water, your electricity, your health care, whether you get medicine, whether they're going to care for you, whether they're going to give you more food or let you use the food you got, whether they're going to come and take your weapons, whether they're going to allow you to keep your weapons. Once government locks down areas, that's a bad sign, and that's a clue. You better get out. Now, I don't want the government locking down an area that I'm in, or I don't want to be in an area that's locked down. I'm getting out. So that window is a very fine. If you watch the series, when it first started, people should have got a clue and started heading, and they didn't. And the government was telling them, like they always do, don't panic, we're under control, don't worry. And anytime there's a crisis, the government always tells you how in control they are, how they're going to help, how we're sending resources, how we've made it a national disaster area, how we've gave federal funds, we're going to bring money, help's coming, the Red Cross is coming in. Just sit on your hands and don't worry about it. Because if you die, well, you can't complain if you die. I mean, you know, a dead victim doesn't make a very good witness. So when you know, or you're in an area where you see government, if a riot happens and they start locking down, LA, I've seen it over and over again, they lock down, they block major entrances and they lock it down. They don't lock it down so much that you can't get out. In this movie Containment, they put up fences, they stacked containers, and they literally built a wall around the area that they were containing. It started as a fence saying, oh no, you know, we're just putting up a fence to keep people out so they don't get infected. And then they electrified the fence, and then they put up a hard core. So when the first fence went up, that should have been a clue. We need to get out now. Never, ever depend on government to save you, to keep you alive, to solve all your problems. That's just a liberal ignorance philosophy that, you know, victims love to, you know, grasp that idea that government will save us. You know, this country was built on people that explored it, that died, that sat on boats and died, that came over here and died on wagons crossing it. I mean, this country was built on taking risk, something liberals don't like. Because if you take risks, that means you might be a man, that might mean you might be masculine, that might mean that you might make a country that's worth something, that means you might make values in a good country, and liberals don't like that. Because then the liberals can't push their idiot philosophies about the poor black man and the poor Muslim and the poor women and the poor everybody, because the mean white man that built the country are all bad. So this country was not built by people that worried about safety and not taking risks. I always said if women ran the world, we wouldn't invent anything. We wouldn't be in space. We'd have no inventions, because they'd be running around protecting everybody, telling everybody to wear helmets, don't do anything that's dangerous, and play it safe. And we'd have no inventions. We'd have nobody taking risk to make the country great. We'd only have a bunch of sheep running around trying to protect each other and then getting slaughtered left and right, and maybe being slaughtered by the people in charge, which is usually the government. So, containment, martial law, lockdown, rioting, anytime you feel that the government is planning, could plan, or possibly plan to start securing and locking down an area and prevent your ability to leave, you need to leave immediately. I mean, you need to leave yesterday. It needs to be quick. You need to grab what you can and get out of there. You can get other stuff, you can get other help, but you do not want to be locked down by the government, because it's, again, you just give up all your power to do anything. You're at the mercy of them for your water, for your food, for your medical, for your ammo, for your guns, for your way to defend yourself. They may take your knives. I mean, gun control and weapon control has been around since the beginning of time. In Rome, they used to start, hey, you can't have weapons in here. If you watched the movie, great movie, by the way, The Last Samurai. The samurai was the protectors of the king and the emperor, and they always had their weapons. And then as soon as government started getting crooked in power, guess what? They didn't want the samurai to have weapons. They only wanted their guards to have weapons, just like the federal government does. You go in a building, state, local cops can't carry guns in federal courthouses. Hell, they can't even carry them sometimes in regular courthouses, because the judges only want the people that are protecting them to have guns. Secret Service only wants them to have guns when they're around. The federal government only wants them to have guns when they're around. It happened through time, whether or not they're trying to stop you from carrying your swords. You can't be armed, no swords in a city, no guns in a city, no weapons in a city, no clubs in a city. I mean, the Chinese have been through this. That's how the nunchucks were developed, because they used to use them to chop down rice, and then they worked with them and they learned how to use them as a weapon, and then they became a weapon. And that's normally what happens. When government takes all weapons, normally the tools that the government wants the sheep to work and produce for the government so the government can exist, those become the new weapons. So, whatever it is. And if robots take over in time, we'll figure out a way to use robots against the government, because government's going to get oppressive and over-controlling, etc. I mean, it's just the way it is. Never let your guard down with government. And anytime you see government squeezing its power and control, grabbing more, you need to fight back, push back, or get the hell out of the area that they're doing it in, because it's nothing good. Gun control, if you're in a state that has big gun control, you need to get out and get you some guns somewhere else. I mean, otherwise, again, when they make being a lawful patriot and good citizen illegal, everyone becomes a criminal. I mean, when you outlaw guns, only outlaws will own guns. Okay, because government will never outlaw guns for them. They'll only outlaw them for people that can fight against them or push back against them. I mean, it's such a simple concept, and I don't understand why more people can't get it. And I mean, I get the brainwashing and the liberal media and the liberal left and the gun's bad and we need to save you. I mean, I saw a stat the other day. For every gun that kills somebody in America, there's like 500,000 guns. It's some ridiculous. Maybe it's 353,000 or something like that. 353,000 guns that do not kill anybody. And the liberal media and the government wants to focus on that one gun out of 350,000 guns that didn't do bad. They want to focus on that one gun to grab the guns from everybody. That's why they're bringing in Muslims. That's why they want illegals. That's why they don't want to admit that the Muslims and illegals, and that's why they want the ghettos to have riots and burn down. They want to let them loot so they can say, and they want Chicago to keep killing black people, because then they can say it's the guns' fault. We have to make sure to allow some violence with guns in order to push our gun control agenda. If gun violence stopped and only good people had guns, how could the government come after our guns? What would be their excuse? They don't have one. And so there's no motivation for the government to protect you against bad people with guns, to protect you from bringing in Muslims who want to kill you, to protect you from illegals crossing the border to do their drug trading gangs. There's no incentive for the government to protect you from all that, because it doesn't help them push what they really want. Government always wants an unarmed public so they can't fight back to government. That's how government grows. That's how they get power. That's how all governments get tyrannical, until they push enough, till the people are willing to die, till they have so little, till they're right in the streets like in Venezuela, getting killed with no food. Their medical supplies have been seized. They have no food. They have their money's worth nothing, and they're starving, and kids are dying, and old people are dying, and there's no medication. And you know what? The government controls the media, so nobody hears it, nobody sees it, And everybody just thinks Venezuela's got the great free medical care, because 5-10 years ago, all you heard about Venezuela is how great it is. Socialism was fantastic. Sean Penn and all the other freaking left-wing liberals from Hollywood going over there talking about how great it was and how wonderful free health care and how socialism is so great. And now it's broken, everything going downhill and is falling into a tyrannical government. The government's seizing everything. Guess what? The government will continue to seize everything, and out of that seizure, somebody will either take out the government and become the new dictator and new controller, or the government that's in there now will become the new dictator, and communism will start, and history repeats itself, and it's a never-ending cycle because people don't learn. And this country was founded off the knowledge that, you know what? We must limit government. Government's never the answer. They're always the problem. We have to keep them small. They have to work for the people. They have to be held accountable. We have to be able to stop government at any time we want, because once government knows they can't be stopped, history starts repeating itself. So my tip is, I guess, when you start figuring out there's a containment issue, whether it's medical, whether it's for guns, whether it's martial law, whether it's for riots to protect you, whatever the reason, you need to grab some goods and get on the move and get out of that area. You do not want to ever be locked down by the government. All right? We'll end that there.